Hey y'all, what's up? This is Coach Paul. God has qualified me, and I'm bringing to y'all another Move Monday episode. Watch this, y'all. As usual, before we get off into the content of the day, listen, if you don't move it, it's going to move you. That, my friends, man, that's a promise. 100%. All right. So let's get off into what we're going to be talking about today. I want to, give me a second. I want to make sure that I lay the foundation and say this. This content that I'm going to be talking about today, it has absolutely nothing to do with racism, as much as it has to do with a people and how this people practices, right? Watch this, practices not moving and walking in their greatness. This is what this is all about. Again, this has absolutely nothing to do with, one race is better than the other, because I believe in the human race. God so loved the world, not just one race. And so, I want to make sure that this thing is known so nobody will tap into this particular episode and look at Coach Paul from a standpoint of being racist. It has nothing to do with this. I'm just tired of us as Black people doing the stuff that we do. Martin Luther King said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And it's time for us to stop falling for anything, because too many of us, watch this, we have extraordinary potential and greatness in us, yet we falling for anything. It's and time out for it, right? So let me get off into what I want to talk about. All right. So yesterday was the 4th of July. And I've had the privilege of being on this earth for 58 4th of Julys. And when I was thinking about the 4th of July yesterday, I thought about what the 4th of July looks like all the way from when I was a child. And here's what came to my spirit. That's why I had to do this episode. When we think about the 4th of July, there's never been a department store or grocery store that is empty. It's filled with people of all races, including Blacks, many Blacks, buying all of the fixings and the foods and the ribs and the hot dogs and you name it, buying all of this stuff in preparation for the celebration of the 4th of July. We even go so far as to get what we used to call our 4th of July outfits, or our 4th of July fits, or our 4th fits. Some of y'all out there know what I'm talking about. And these fits would be red, white, and blue. We would have red, white, and blue Air Force Ones, red, white, and blue Air Maxes, red, white, and blue Jordans, red, with the red, white, and blue outfit to match it, maybe a red, white, and blue hat. If you go to Chicago, where I'm from, you got the Chicago White Sox is red, white, and blue. So even the Cubs, red, white, and blue. So we would do everything that was needed to show how we was honoring and celebrating the 4th of July. Now, let me say something. I'm not saying anything is wrong with the 4th of July. I appreciate the celebration, because let me say this. One of the greatest days for the best barbecue is the 4th of July. Hallelujah to that. Now, we put all this stock into making sure that we do everything that we can to celebrate the 4th of July, right? Fireworks, you name it. There's been times when me and my cousins, when we were having lots of illegal money, we put on 4th of July fireworks firework displays, and I'm talking about thousands of dollars worth of fireworks displays for the communities that we were a part of, right? So we did all of this celebration for 4th of July. Like I'm saying, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm getting to a point, I'm getting to the part where I'm talking about we need to start moving in our greatness. So stay with me. Now, we do all of this celebrating for the 4th of July. But when it comes to Juneteenth, yep, y'all heard me say it, black man, black woman. When it comes to Juneteenth, here is what we do. We barely show up for the celebrations for Juneteenth. Some of us don't even know what Juneteenth means, and I'll get to that part. But the other part that's appalling to me is that we will use Juneteenth as an opportunity to go and fight each other, shoot each other, kill each other, gang bang, and do all manner of evil to one another. These are some of the things that the people who even go to these Juneteenth celebrations, this is what we prepare as Black people to go to Juneteenth and do. And Juneteenth is supposed to be a celebration of our liberation from slavery. Yet we're still going to, this is 2025, and we are going to Juneteenth acting like slaves. 100%. Give me a second. All right, 100%. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about Juneteenth. I'm born and raised in Chicago. I left Chicago when I was almost 22 years old. And in those 21 and a half years, I had never so much as heard anything about Juneteenth. I had no clue what Juneteenth was. And a lot of y'all out here who are listening to this podcast or are going to come across this podcast don't even know what Juneteenth is. So it had never been spoken in none of my classrooms, in none of my circles, social settings, nowhere in the time that I had been in my hometown that I had so much as heard anything about Juneteenth. The only thing that I knew about June at that time was that it was time for summer break. That was it. Summer vacation is coming in June. Excuse me. That's all I knew about June. Now I moved, when I left Chicago at almost 22, I moved north to Milwaukee. I heard about June. That's when I found out about Juneteenth. I still didn't know what it was, but I heard about this Juneteenth celebration that they had going on every year. And I stayed in Milwaukee for 22 years. I had never been to Juneteenth in those 22 years. Why? Because one of the things that was common about Juneteenth in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, was that they got over there and they fought. They got over there and they gang banged. They got over there and they shot. Those were some of the things that was happening, or that was a practice for Juneteenth. And so I didn't want to have anything to do with none of that. So I never went to Juneteenth when I was living in Milwaukee. Obviously, when I went to Minnesota, the same thing. It was this exact same thing. Here in California, this is the second year. I'm 58 years old, and this is the second year that I've been a part of a Juneteenth celebration. And thank God that this celebration, where they have Juneteenth that out here where I live at, there's none of that madness going on. It's a celebration of what we're supposed to be doing for one another. Because let me listen. Let me say this to you all. And again, this is not, I don't want nobody to think that this particular episode is based off racism. I just want to point out the fact that here's a people who has extraordinary potential and greatness in us, and we're not doing anything but killing one another. We're not doing anything to celebrate one another. We're not doing anything to encourage one another. We are not doing, well, let me say this. We're doing very little. There's few and far in between. And I'll mention some people as I continue with this particular subject on this episode. We even celebrate, I've even known many Black people to go and celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Now, let me say this. Listen, Mexicans, Spanish people, y'all got some good food. Hallelujah. Let me say that. But I'm saying we'll go to the Cinco de Mayo celebrations, and we'll go there and have fun. We'll eat, listen to the music, all of the fun stuff that goes on at Cinco de Mayo. But like I said, when it comes to Juneteenth, when I'm talking about a people with extraordinary potential and greatness that's within us, you barely see us celebrating one another and celebrating what Juneteenth commemorates. Now, here's one of the reasons, another reasons why I'm doing this, because I want us to understand that if we don't celebrate us, nobody else will. If we don't lift us up, nobody else will. Watch this. And when other people start to see us, celebrate us, and lift us up, then they'll start to get on board. I always say it like this. They talk about it from a relationship standpoint, that you teach people how to treat you. So one of the reasons why I firmly believe, one of the reasons why all of these other races, whether they're law enforcement or otherwise, feel like it's okay to kill black people the way that they kill black people and treat black people the way that they treat black people, is because we're doing it to ourselves. And then we get mad when they do it. Once we stop, they'll know that they have to stop. So with that being said, let me go off into the next part of what I want to talk about in terms of being able to celebrate ourselves, right? Let me say this. I heard somebody talking about a black woman today talking about the economy and how the economy has put her in a place and in a position where she has to penny pinch. Black woman, you have greatness and extraordinary potential in you. And I want you to understand, black woman and black man, that the economy you were never included in the conversations about what the economy was supposed to be, except for how we are going to be used by them. Again, don't take this as racism, but I'm pointing out some facts. The only way that we were mentioned when they talked about the economy was from a standpoint of how they were going to use us to build their wealth. And many of us proving it. Many of us are proving it right now. Somebody said, if you don't follow your dreams, you're going to spend your life working for somebody who's following theirs. And many of us who are black greatness, all we want is a job. And watch this, it's a Fortune 500 business inside of you, but all you want is a job. Again, we have to start learning how to celebrate ourselves. And so with that being said, like I said, when we talk, you're talking about the economy and you penny pinching based off the economy that you were never included in the conversation about anyway, right? I'm gonna go watch this. Oklahoma had Black Wall Street. They created their own economy. And watch this, Black Wall Street was thriving. And it was in spite of and separate from the economy, again, that we weren't included in the conversation about anyway. And again, I don't want us to look at this from a racism standpoint. I just want, watch this, if we're gonna look at it from any standpoint, I want you to look at how we are at fault. It's not their fault, it's our fault. Because we are settling for less. It's our fault. So anyway, we had a Black Wall Street that was thriving, and we created our own economy. We had our own economy. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to separate us from anybody, because we all in this world together, and we need one another in order to make this world a better place. 100%. I'm for that. However, under the same token, the only way that we're going to start to be built up is by building ourselves up. TD said it like this. He says, we praying and asking God for couches and beds and tables and chairs and all of that kind of stuff. And he said, God, don't make that stuff. He make the tree. And he gives you the ability to make those things out of the tree. God has given us the ability to create. He said it in the word. He has given us the ability to create wealth. He's given us the ability to create community. We sitting up here waiting on God to do something that he already given us the power and the ability to do. And the only thing that we can get out of all of that God has given us is the way to be able to talk about one another, a way to be able to shoot one another, a way to be able to kill one another, a way to be able to not celebrate one another, to game bang against each other. That's all we can come up with out of what God has put inside of each and every one of us. I'm appalled. I am appalled. Don't get me wrong. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. I was a part of that madness. Now I'm on this side of it, and I want myself, just like a bunch of the other greats that are out there. I want to help us get on this side of the equation and learn how to start to celebrate ourselves. Because, like I said, when they see us start treating each other better, they'll start treating us better as well. Now, I'm gonna mention a couple of people that we don't even look towards. We look towards anybody who's promoting all this negative foolishness. Because one of the things that I see when I'm watching social media, I see a whole lot of the negative media and things that are going on from a negative standpoint. When it's black on black, I see those people getting almost millions of views and likes and all that kind of stuff. When you got people like Wall Street Trapper and TD Jakes and Jeremy Anderson and Eric Thomas, you don't get as many likes. And these guys that I just mentioned, among many others, are doing great things to uplift the people. Wall Street Trapper says that he want to help change our culture, and build generational wealth one share at a time. Wall Street Trapper helps us to understand that Wall Street looks just like us now. That's one of the things that he says. That's what his logo says on his shirts, his hats, and everything else about him. He's teaching us how to be able to get into Wall Street, stock market, Roth IRAs. He's teaching us about how to be able to do that. And I follow Wall Street Trapper, and I don't listen. He's popular. However, he should be more popular than what he is from the black community standpoint. He should be, and it's a shame that he's not. I just learned about him a little over 2 years ago, and I've been following the guy ever since. And everything that the guy has been saying, he's 100% transparent. You know, if you just check him out, he's 100% transparent, and he's doing everything that he can to help us come out of the generational wealth curse. He's trying to help us build wealth again, one share at a time. You got another one of the greats, Jeremy Anderson, motivational speaker, Eric Thomas, motivational speaker. Where else can you go to a speakers conference? Watch this. Where else in the world can you go to a speakers conference and people receive the gift of salvation? Where else can you go to a speakers conference and people get baptized? You have an encounter with God, except at Jeremy Anderson's Next Level Speakers Conference. Eric Thomas talks about UOU, right? He talks about when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. Now, this man is, the number one motivational speaker in the world. He should have billions, hundreds of millions at least of black people following him, because he's walking in his greatness, and he's trying to help us, right, to learn how to start to celebrate one another. Obviously, 100% help you get a relationship with God, but celebrate one another and walk in the greatness that's within you. What we doing? TD Jakes talks about being a disruptive thinker, meaning we got to learn how to start thinking outside of the box that they have put us. Watch this. They didn't put us in there. We've allowed ourselves to be, because we're in a day and age that we don't have to be in a box. So the boxes that we are in, they didn't put us in there. We are put out. We've willingly walked into these boxes. T.D. Jakes is trying to teach us how to think outside of that box in the greatness that's within each and every one of us, in the extraordinary potential that's within each and every one of us. But this is what appalls me. The best we can get out of T.D. Jakes is, oh, he was at a party with P. Diddy. All of the greatness that this man has poured into us for all of these years that he's been in ministry and in business. And the best we can get out of it is he was at a party with P. Diddy. He was at one of them free. Speaking of P. Diddy. Now watch this. Before I get deep off into the P. Diddy thing, watch this. But I don't hear nobody talking about those times when you see P. Diddy at his church. I don't see all y'all talking about P. Diddy. I don't see nobody praying for P. Diddy. I don't see nobody asking for the gift of salvation to be received into his life. And again, everybody has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Now, I'm in no way, shape, form, or fashion justifying anything that he has done. Whatever he has done, he needs to be paid a penalty for it. Absolutely. But instead of judging that man, instead of casting that man into hell with the rest of what society is doing, we need to rally around that man and lift him up to God, praying that he would get his life together and allow God to watch this, allow God to continue to build the greatness that's within P. Diddy. Because let me explain something to y'all about that man. That man is a billionaire. And I promise you that he didn't get all of that money off the blood of people, off the blood of people's backs or doing people wrong. Some of that comes from the genius and the extraordinary potential and the greatness that's within P. Diddy. Like I said, I'm not sugarcoating or downplaying anything that young man has done, but I'm saying at the same time, instead of us casting him into hell, which all of us have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, because some of y'all out there who judging that man, you just as much a mess as he is. And I promise you, if he'd invited you to the parties, to them freak offs, you wouldn't have had no problem going. So this is what I'm saying. We celebrating the wrong thing. And we looking down on the wrong thing. And again, like I said, if you don't start thinking for yourself, people going to tell you what they want you to think. If you don't start moving toward your greatness, you're going to settle for anything. And it's time out. It's time out for this foolishness, y'all. T.D. Jakes said, we live in a day and an age where this is the smartest and most informational and informed generation ever. Yeah, we sitting up here, we focused on Trump. Yet we going to Juneteenth and we shooting each other up, we killing each other, and we doing all this, we prostituting our women, we leaving our kids to be raised by the streets and by social media, we selling dope to one another, even though in some of our families, watch this, even though some of our family members have died from drug addiction, we still selling dope to the next man, next woman, or the next child. We celebrating and we celebrating that stuff. We getting out on social media, flashing all our money, showing our Gucci and Louis Vuitton and red bottoms. Red bottoms stupid to me, because why would I want to have a shoe on that somebody got to look at the bottom to identify it? That's another thing. That's another thing. But we celebrating the wrong things. And like I said, we on there showing all of our all this jewelry in our mouths and on our wrists and all of these kind of things. And that money, the money that you got to buy that, came at the expense of a black man, a black woman, and a black child not even eating a black child going to school with dirty clothes or or shoes bad. Something wrong. We have to stop celebrating the wrong thing and start learning how to come together so that we can celebrate us for a change. Because let me say this, y'all. Ain't nobody gonna celebrate us until they see us start celebrating ourselves. And we have to learn how to start moving into our greatness and celebrate the greatness that God has put inside of each and every one of you black men and black women. So I'm gonna end this episode with this. Some of y'all out there, you gotta move some places so that you can walk into your greatness. Some of y'all out there, you got to move some people so that you can walk into your greatness. Some of y'all out there, you got to move some things so that you can walk into your greatness. Some of y'all out there, you got to move some thought processes out of the way so that you can walk into your greatness. Some of y'all out there, you got to move some of your beliefs so that you can walk into your greatness. And some of y'all out there, you got to move you in order to move and walk into your greatness. With that being said, please, y'all, black man, black woman, let's learn how to start to celebrate and lift ourselves up so other people can learn how to treat us better as a people. With that being said, I love every last one of y'all. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Until next time, be well. Do the next right thing. God bless you. Move in your greatness. And if you're looking for a butt, it's going to always be easy to find one. That, my friends, is a promise. Till next time, deuces.